All right, how are you guys doing? Want to do a quick little wrap up here on gold as we've closed out this first, I guess, week in April. And as we move into next week, and it was kind of frustrating with gold this week. We had that nice big rally all the way up, getting close to 1700 on the futures, and then we pulled back down. Kind of made sense, that was a pretty strong rally. To see a pullback that was made sense. And then we kind of consolidated here towards the end of last week, and then moving into Sunday. We started to trend down, and throughout the beginning parts of this week, and as we moved through the middle part of this week, we saw it kind of sell off, and I was like, okay. And then we started to find some sort of support right in here around 1590. From there, we saw a nice little consolidation, a nice little basis form, and then we started to push higher, and we pushed all the way up and then closed kind of as like a cliffhanger right in here around 1645. So I think as we move into Sunday, it'll give us a little bit of a better idea of where we're going to trade. But again, there's a lot of trading that's gone in right around this level, around 1645. And you can see we closed just right above it. So to me, my stance is that we set in a low down here as just on the shorter term time frame. We set in a low down here around 1500, we'll call it. Then we pushed back up to, we'll call it somewhere up here around 1665, and now we have set a higher low right in here around 1600, and we're pushing back higher. So to me, if we have enough people or enough buyers that are going to help push this price through 1645 and then up here towards 1665. That would be my ideal circumstance. And then from there, we make a nice little basis and we close above 1665, as we really haven't seen much of that. But if we see consistent closes above 1665, we might form a nice little consolidation patch, really, and then push closer to these highs up here around 1700. I think that that'll have a lot more stamina than these quick pushes that are quickly sold back down that we've seen over the past month or so. Now, if that does not pan out, and let's say we open up on Sunday and whether some news has come out, whatever, but the gold starts to trend back down, you can look at some shorter term supports, but really what we would want to see it do is hold above 1600. If we start to see it come back down, and it breaks down through these levels, then you have to think, okay, maybe gold is actually starting to break down here, as it wasn't able to hold above this level that it sat in after seeing that rally. So that's something to keep in the back of your head. Now, we could also come back down and see a double bottom and push from there. So it's really just kind of how we see it open up on Sunday, but just kind of want to get into the mindset of, okay, if when we open up, this is the level that we're at, where do we think we're going to continue from there? Now, if we were to break through that $1,600 price level, or 1590, we'll call it, we could see this quickly move back down to the lower 1500s and be in a range, say, from 1480 to 1520. Now, do I see that as being a likely circumstance? No, not to me personally, but I'm sure that there's people out there that are looking to see that happen. To me, gold fundamentally at this point, with the amount of money that the government is producing out of thin air, I think that we are going to start to see inflation start to rise, and what better way to hedge that than to be with gold? So these are the gold futures. I'm going to go ahead and move into GLD. So this is going to be, again, the 4-hour time frame, and this is roughly the same chart up here. And so right in here around, it's a little bit more difficult to see as this is not trading 24/5. But, you could say right in here, right around where we closed, around the upper 152s as being a resistance. What I'm really looking at is right in here to the upper 153s. And then from there, there's also a resistance in the mid to low 155. So I think those are the pivotal resistances that we need to start pushing through, and building a nice basis in between those prices, before we get up to this 160 level. Now we could see a quick spike up to that level again, but it could be sold back down. I think as we slowly move higher and we build these nice, um, really these nice bases for support, that'll be where we see consistent growth here in gold. But again, if we do break down the 1590 to 1600 level, that would translate to me right in here to the low 149s. And if we break down from there, we could be seeing levels down here back towards 140, 142. So again, just keeping that in mind as we go into next week. But we closed out this week again relatively strong after that midweek sell-off and mid to early week sell-off, and then we pushed higher. So as I said earlier, I do want to look at SLV. So this is going to be silver, and the reason I bring this up is the gold to silver ratio. So right now, it takes 111 ounces of silver to buy 1 ounce of gold, and that is pretty high on the gold to silver ratio. So that either indicates that gold is overvalued or that silver is underperforming, and that it has some work to do to move back up to gold's level to bring that ratio down a little bit. So in that sense that silver is undervalued, we can look at some levels for it to come back up. Now, silver, as gold saw that big pullback, silver also saw that pullback, but as you can see here, it has not come back up to those levels prior to that big drop that we saw. It has come back up a little bit. You can see here we're up about 20% from those lows, but ideally we would want to see this back up here towards $16 a share, and it's really just lagging. You can see we have a bit of a top forming up here around 160 or 160, around 1360. So that's a level to look at. But really, if we take this out to a longer term time frame, let's see, let's go to the 1 year daily. You can see this big divide. So the gold chart is a pretty consistent move to the upside, and silver has just been lagging. So to me, again, we have a bit of a resistance up here around the mid 13s. So we'll go ahead and throw a line in from there. But I think as we break through that level, this is all really just air. So to me, we may have a brief pullback down here to the lower 13s. So I've got some orders in there for silver, but to me, this could be a large gap that we could fill over the course of a few days, and that is about a 14% gap. So to me, if we see a move like that, it could be pretty quick to fill that as we dropped very rapidly in the price of silver. And then if we look back here towards the mid part of last year, it wasn't a whole lot of trading that went on in this level because you can see here, again, we had just pretty drastic moves in the price of silver. So to me, we can look here as being some nice support around 13 to the upper 12s. And then again, we're seeing that resistance up here around 1350, and we could see some resistance. If we were wanting to be a little bit more conservative, let's put it in here around 15, but we also have a level right in here in the mid to upper 15s as being, you could call it like a second price target. If we were to hit here, you want to sell some shares, and then we hit up here in the mid 15s, and then you wanted to sell there as well. But so to me, the risk reward is there as far as taking on a position, but it's not for everybody. There are definitely reasons that you could look at that would make you a little bit hesitant towards this trade. You can maybe think, well, maybe gold is overvalued and that price is going to go down. But to me, that's not necessarily the case. But, do as much as you can to learn and understand what's going on. And, will this be a good trade for you to take on given the risk reward? So that's just a potential that I wanted to throw into this video as it is related to gold as a trade that you could take on, or at least look at and learn from as we move through, say, April. But again, thank you guys for watching. I do enjoy making these videos. If you want to leave a like, if you enjoyed the video, please do. If you've got a comment, tell me how I can make these videos better, or a stock that you want me to look at in particular, please let me know. I'm always ready to make an analysis video on a stock that you guys want me to do. So thank you guys once again for watching. I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your day.